Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show how to draw a bird's nest in graphite. Now this is one of those textures or elements that would make us think, where do I start? There is a lot going on and it can be very confusing. So when I'm working on something like that, my first goal is to get some kind of graphite in place because the white of the paper can be very overwhelming. Now my preference for any of my graphite drawings is to start with a layer of graphite powder. I'm using an eye makeup applicator here to apply that, and that gives me a very quick, soft look. Now when I'm working with this specific reference photo, the bird's nest was very dark. The nest is surrounded by a lot of foliage, and I will have all of that demonstrated in another video here on YouTube. If you would like to see that, let me know and I'll get it uploaded sooner rather than later. But as I'm starting to block in this graphite powder, I'm simply just trying to get something there that I can work with. It's far less overwhelming even now knowing that I've got something here in place. Now because the values are going to be very dark in places here, I know that even this is nowhere near as dark as it needs to be. But I do want to be building up my values in stages. I don't want to just start with my darkest pencil first. I want to make sure that I have got the layers all more structured so that I'm getting as much depth here as I possibly can. Now one of the next phases here, before I commit to too much of a darker layer, where that pressure is going to become more noticeable of, will I be able to get my highlights bright enough? I want to just use a putty eraser and lift some of that graphite powder off. Having that awareness of whether or not those highlights are going to be bright enough is something that is warranted. So it's not something where we want to just completely ignore it. It certainly is valid, but it can cause so much hesitation that we don't progress at all. So working with more of a cautious approach, I haven't gone in with my pencils first. I've used the graphite powder that's far more easily removable. I've then used that putty eraser to lift some of the lighter branches or twigs, bit of leaf litter that might be within that nest. Once I've got some of those established, now I can work around them and darken this up. But again, notice how I'm not jumping into my darkest graphite pencil first. And you'll also see here that I'm working in smaller sections. I am progressing up in the pencils that I'm using. It might be that I start with a HB, gradually work through the B pencils until I get something as dark as what is needed. The layering of the graphite is important, and that is something that I do cover thoroughly in my real-time step-by-step versions of these tutorials. If they are of interest, I'll link all of the information to those in the description below. Now, one of the possible problems that could happen here when working with this approach and working around highlights is those highlights can end up very stiff and rigid. This isn't my approach that I would use when drawing fur or feathers, but for something like this, the twigs here, the branches, the sticks, they are going to have more of that straighter or rigid effect, so that works perfectly fine. But it is important to make sure that they still look like they are within that layering process and not just randomly plonked on top. That will give a far more two-dimensional feel to the drawing. So what I now need to do is come back in, reinforce more of those highlights and build up my layers. So as I've mentioned with my darkest pencils, when building in the nest material, that's going to be the same concept. There is going to be lots of layers of the leaves, the twigs, the branches that I'm going to be adding here. It's not about just working with one layer of detail and then leaving it as that, because everything there would end up far more flatter in appearance. So with those techniques in mind, this now becomes more of a rinse and repeat process. Once I've got an area about 50-60% complete, I then move on to the next. I start with my graphite pencils, I darken those layers, and then I come back in with my erasers. When working with this approach, you can see that I'm overlapping all of the highlights here, and I'm deliberately darkening them up as well. Going back to what I've mentioned previously, I want to have a range of layers. I don't want everything looking as bright as the area next to it. Lots of these twigs are going to be layered on top of each other. So not only is the layering process with the graphite important, it's also just as crucial with these erasers. And one of my biggest tips when drawing something like this is to have as much variation as you can. I speak about this when drawing fur or feathers, but we really want to have a variety in the length of these twigs, how bright they are, how dark they are, the thickness, the way that they're curving. Some of them are straighter, some might have a little bit more of an S shape. It's all going to depend, and I want to be making sure that I have captured that. Whilst I'm discussing here the importance of the variation, I also want to mention that I'm not trying to draw every single twig in exactly the same place as the reference photo. If that was my goal, I would then work significantly larger and allocate far more time to the precision of putting in this nest material. Now, one of my biggest tips when working with something like this is try not to overcomplicate the reference photo. Sometimes when we look at something like this, we are immediately trying to put in the details that we see first. This is the same when working with fur or feathers, but usually they are the things that we want to be leaving until the last layer. Whiskers, for example, the highlights that are added far too soon can be a real sticking point for us not wanting to cover them up. We feel then that we have to then work around them in much more of a structured way. And although I have worked with more structure in terms of building up my layers in gradual stages, working with the variety of building in my lights and my darks, I'm actually wanting to draw over these details that I am putting in. I'm wanting to capture that impression that there are going to be hundreds of individual pieces of this nest material without having to draw every single one. And a big part of that is making sure they are overlapping at many points. And with all that in mind about how to build the layers using the erasers, getting as much variation as possible, one thing to consider is if we make a mistake and we add a highlight where it shouldn't be, we put in an extra twig or two, it's not going to show up here. One of the things with drawing something that's as confusing as this is it can hide mistakes. We want to fix some mistakes if we can, but sometimes if we add something that we cannot remove, a darker shadow here for example, it's okay. It's not going to be something that's going to affect the realism of this portrait. Now at this stage of the drawing, this is where I'm starting to build up on that nest material. So I'm adding some smaller sets of highlights. I may be using my graphite pencils to darken specific areas. Because one thing at this stage, I felt like I certainly had the texture I wanted, but that some of it looked too mid-tone. So the brightness of each of the twigs here was very similar. So this is where the contrast starts to be adapted. I've got the bulk of the texture in place, and by using this approach, I've helped to simplify this complex element of this drawing. If I'd have tried to get all of my values right from the very beginning and putting in all of this texture, I'm going to get very overwhelmed and stressed. I want to avoid that as much as possible. And we can work with more of a forgiving approach. So now I've got the bulk of this in, now it's just about enhancing what's there. So this is the stage where the graphite pencils are used more to tone down those highlights. This is where that nest material starts to look deeper. What I can't stress enough is I'm never actually covering up all of these completely. It's maybe some shading. I might use the side of the graphite pencil to get a lighter layer of that graphite over the top so that it isn't completely within the shadow, but not as bright as the top highlights will be. Because one of the considerations here is if you're using an eraser and you're trying your hardest to get that as bright as you can possibly go with those highlights that you're adapting, and you still feel like they're not light enough, one of the problems is that the layers underneath or the areas next to that highlight aren't dark enough. And this is one potential problem that I would have run into if I weren't using my pencils and this blending stump to darken some of these values. By darkening these up, I'm then going to be able to come back in with my erasers and put in those very brightest highlights. So this is not a stage where it's a waste of time putting in those highlights previous, like I've shown throughout this video, not at all. All of those layers were needed, but we want to be making sure that we are maximizing these values as much as possible. So if you've got a highlight in the eye, something that's really bright. I will always allow the white of the paper there to show through, so I know I've got that as light as what's needed. If that highlight does not look bright enough, despite that, that tells me that my darkest values around the eye, the pupil, the eyelid, the feathers around the eye, are not dark enough. Once they've been darkened, that highlight in the eye will appear that much brighter. So before I wrap this video up, I'll just show you here a glimpse of the other sections of this portrait. If you would like to see the background, the leaves, and how I did the birds, do let me know in the comments below, because I can get that video edited together and uploaded to YouTube as soon as possible. But I do hope this video has been useful. If it was, I'd be very grateful if you could give it a like and a thumbs up. It makes a huge difference to my channel. I do also upload a couple of videos to YouTube every week, so if you would like to get notified of that content, then don't forget to hit the subscribe and the bell button. If you would like to draw along to the real-time version of this tutorial, I'll link all of the information to that in the description below. If you have any art-related questions, feel free to pop them in the comments as well. I'm always happy to help if I can. And I'm going to be uploading another video next week. But as always, thank you so much for watching.